Happy Halloween, everyone! We are back with another Central Chat. It has been a while. Just a little while, a few months. Or how long has it been? But anyway, I'm here with Knutes
It's
and Bros
probably
once
been a few
again.
months.
What'd you say?
I think it's been a few months.
I think it was like 2 months? Oh, no, 4 months. Well, if we recorded this 2 months ago, then I would have been correct. Um, but we're here with a Halloween special, and it is an absolute relief to finally actually be recording this. A good 95% of the time before, still got a cold. A good 95% of the time before recording was just me getting really irritated. Because it took me about an hour to do the thumbnail, which is also the background, which the background was going to be something different, but I got really irritated with the thumbnail, which is really simplistic, but for some reason things kept messing up, and it took me about an hour to actually do that. Or a little more than hours. It was noon then. It's 1:13 now. But for this one, I'm going to do a different sort of editing style. I'm going to try to segment things up. I'm going to make these into like segments, and I'm going to put like creepy music and stuff like in the transitions. And something else I was thinking about doing was it'd be fun to do like mock commercials and stuff. Those really stupid, like cheesy radio commercials.
hmm
I was thinking we could do something like that and stuff eventually, but that'd be for later ones. For this one, I'm probably just gonna do like, uh, this one. I'm probably just gonna do some creepy music for transitions and stuff. But I do want to have like it segmented up because I listened to the original podcast originally, and I really liked it at first. And so I thought it was pretty funny. It was pretty good at the very beginning, and then like it got obvious as we went on that it really seemed like we were running out of suggestions. So there'd be these big gaps, which I should have edited out then, but I didn't. And so I thought to like as a solution I thought maybe I can just like segment things up, like cut the recording after a little bit and then start up another one immediately after, and I could just segment them up and it'd be a way easier to edit that way. Alright, so I suppose if you are ready, I can go ahead and start with this first one. Why are there so
Yeah,
many?
go ahead and start because I don't have any yet. I'm still looking for a really good one. I'm thinking about finding one about body horror or something. Because everyone squirms when they hear something about a body.
Okay, so I've got several short scary stories here, um, on tabs, and then for the very final one that I'll read, I'm gonna read this story that I first read about 5 or 6 years ago, and it is to this day one of the best short scary stories I've read in my entire life. It's called The Smiling Man. It's absolutely
Mm.
fantastic. I love it.
I don't
But
think I've heard it yet, so.
oh, you haven't?
No,
Um,
I've heard a lot of scary stories, though. But most of them I've heard go on for like 12 minutes plus.
Yeah, that one. There's actually a lot of short films on YouTube that were inspired by it, and it's pretty cool. It's not one of those ones that's like demonic things that are like scary about it. It's something that could actually legitimately happen, and probably has happened to people and stuff. It's basically just someone who's insane, who like there's someone walking, and then there's like someone following them, and it's basically like that, and it's like something that could easily happen. Um, but what I was planning on for today was reading a few short scary stories, um, and then I found something on accident, or it was just on
Uh,
Facebook. I saw an ad for something. Was that a yawn I heard?
no. I just found a really good story.
I was gonna say, whoa, I'm sorry, am I fucking boring you? um, but I found this thing, it's like creepiest glitch in the Matrix moments. I've
All
never
right.
heard of it before, but I read a couple of them. I wasn't even planning
Oh
on reading
yes,
them for it.
I've heard of those.
I
I've
read
heard
a
of
couple of
those.
them and I thought, oh, I should put this in a podcast, like because these are actually kind of cool. Because it's basically just these really bizarre things that like sometimes can't even be explained, and it's just really really bizarre. And so I thought, ooh, I could read a couple of these for the podcast, just for some bits. And this might be broken down into, because of the amount of stuff I have planned to like put in this, and the fact that I'm explaining the new format and everything, which and stuff. I'm thinking what's most likely going to happen is we're going to have this be like a two-parter,
All right.
because I'm not
Yeah.
sure if we'll be able to cram this into like an hour. I'm going to turn my volume down. Okay, there we go. So I've got this website. It's one of those listing ones that has a bunch of short ones. Um,
Ah,
and
no, I'm using good old creepypasta.com. Get the best stories around town.
yeah, I thought about going on there. The problem is it's hard to find short scary stories because all of last year, all of October, I read short, scary stories. And so
Ah,
it's hard to find a website that I haven't been to and I haven't read stuff off of. Because, like, most of, like these ones I got here, I Googled searched, like, short, scary stories, and then went to, like, page 5 and stuff. I just scrolled to the bottom and hit 5. Because, like, a majority of the first page, I've already, like, looked through that.
hmm.
Okay, I have been pushing this back for far too long, so we're gonna go ahead and begin. This one's called, this one's called "The Dog Who Sees Spirit." This is a very short one,
The dog who sees spirits. All right.
but oh, this one's
Lay it
only
on me. I'm expecting a twist on the end.
this is only a couple of sentences. My dog has a nasty habit of scratching the door in the middle of the night. One evening, she wouldn't stop scratching the door for any reason. After calling her 5 times, I threw a pillow towards the door to make her stop. That's when she barked, from right beside me. She's been next to me the whole time. That was a very short one, but it's pretty good.
All right, here I got one for you.
That was by Victoria Kohler. I think
Let's
that's how you
see.
pronounce it. Via
I'm trying to.
Facebook.
The story was, I think it was written by Isaac Cook.
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton. All right, here's how it goes. It's gonna go on for a minute. That's what it says. I sat on the bus on my way to school, listening to music and paying little to no attention to other students. At one of the stops, my mind snapped back to reality. I looked towards the small house. Tommy's house, I thought. A hand slipped through the drapes of the window and waved the bus driver to move on. He's sick, I thought, paying no large attention to the situation. The day flew by. I watched the local news channel after school when I heard paralyzed me. Tommy's entire family was murdered that day by an unknown suspect. After hearing this news, I moved back up to my room and quietly fell asleep. The next day, I sat in the bus. We drove past Tommy's house, and the bus driver, unaware of Tommy's family fate, stopped at his house. As I was about to get up and explain to her what had happened, something caught my eye. A pale hand slipped through the drapes of the window and waved the bus driver to move on. I sat in the bus, terrified.
There's only one logical explanation. It's Skeletor.
Skeletor,
Or Boo
definitely.
Radley from, oh god, what's the name of that? To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes,
I almost said Mockingjay. To Kill a
Mockingjay.
Mockingjay. Same thing. What's the difference? They all mock like assholes. Alright. I'm gonna do a couple. A lot of these are shorter ones, and I'd like to move on to another website soon. So I'm gonna read it. I'll do a couple more and stuff. We can do these back and forth a couple more times. Then I'll cut the recording and switch to the other website for the next one. Alright, so what should I do? Caressed by Spirit, not Spirit. By Ernani, I think is how you pronounce it. Ernani. through BuzzFeed. Jeez.
Oh, through BuzzFeed. What are you doing?
I'm not on BuzzFeed. I'm on a. Oh shit! I am on
Blake.
BuzzFeed. Oh god.
Blake, what are you doing?
I don't want to be on BuzzFeed.
Get
I
off
didn't realize it was
BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed. Um,
Get.
but anyway, it says my father died in 1996 when I was 10 years old and my brother was 12. We slept in a bunk bed, and my brother had the upper bunk, while I had the lower one. One night, I woke up in the middle of the night with someone softly caressing my head.
Ooh.
I thought it was my brother and ignored it. When I went back to sleep, the feeling returned. I got out of bed to confront my brother, but he was snoring quietly. I went back to bed, and the caressing began a third time. I've never prayed so hard in my life. I prayed until sunrise the next morning. Well, that's normal. I mean, does this person not have ghosts caressing their heads like every single day?
I have that happen every single night.
Yeah.
It's quite good, you know?
Getting frisky with those ghosts.
All right, here. I got one. It's
All right.
a minute. It's a minute long. It has 6.7 out of 10 stars, you know, from 1,200 votes, so it'll be okay.
It is
All right.
rated OC for okay.
I remember that there was this one story I read, but it'd be a bit too long for this. It was called The Smiling Owl.
Oh, what we can do is, is that the one you're gonna read?
No, this one's called Stairs.
Okay, what we can do is you can finish that one. Wait, how long is the Smiling Owl?
I'll have to look after this one, but let me read this one first.
Okay, because
Then
what we can do is we can just after this, because I'll probably read one more and then cut it. When you can start off the next section with that.
all right, let's start this up. My house is old. It's by the far oldest house on our block. We tried to liven it up to make it comfy, and they have two ands in this. And we did a pretty good job. We put colorful rugs on the freezing concrete, lamps in every corner. Every room was nice and modern except the basement. When I was a little kid, I would sprint up the stairs coming up from the basement. I don't know what I was afraid of. Maybe a ghost or a monster in the dark behind me waiting for me to turn around so it can catch me, and I don't know what it would do. But now, as a 17-year-old boy, I'm walking up the stairs from my basement, and my childish fears, long repressed, are coming back. I tell myself to shut up, but that dark part in the back of my head tells me to run, to get out of there now. More than anything, I want to rocket up those stairs as I did as a child, but I force my feet to take even, normal steps. I feel the overwhelming urge to look behind me, but I also want to win the battle of paranoia that is going on in my brain. So I slowly walk up the seemingly endless staircase. My palms sweating, my heart racing the entire way. About 10 steps from the top, I feel an ice-cold hand close around my ankle.
That sucks.
Womp womp.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Short story.
Yeah, it's pretty short. I expected that to be like a bit longer. But anyway. Okay, for this next one, Grandmother's Spirit is going to be the last one by Aline Urzd via Facebook. Or I think it's Aline.
I found it.
Or is that Elena?
It takes 5 minutes to read it, apparently.
That's not that bad. Aline, is this Elena? Aline. Or Aline?
I remember I read this story at camp.
But if that's Elena, then their parents need to, like, figure out how to spell names properly. I mean, seriously, that is not how you spell Elena. But anyway, moving on. past the
Anyway,
name.
commenting.
Um, my grandma. What was that accent? my grand
Woes up.
my grandmother lived with my family during the
Yes,
last
please
months of
keep
her
that.
life. She died on the sofa of our house one Sunday night. The following week, I started to see someone in white passing through the house occasionally, and when I went looking for him, there was never anyone there. My sister claimed that she actually saw physical forms. We were terrified for a good while until my sister and I could no longer sleep in our rooms because we were too afraid. My mother prayed, burned the couch in the backyard, and we never saw anything again.
Thank you.
All right, well,
Thanks for
that's it for
thanks for the
BuzzFeed.
southern voice. Thanks
Yeah.
for the southern voice.
Should I just for the next few just like read it in
Read it
that
with
voice?
like a heavy southern withdrawal.
I've got two websites. I got Backpackerverse and
Uh
um I can't see it.
Country road.
Conspicuous Panda, and then there's the Smiling Man, which is on Reddit. So I got two more websites. The one
Reddit.
on Backpackerverse is supposedly, or is this the one? This is supposedly true. Probably not. It's probably just lying assholes. Um, is this claimed to these ones claim to be true? Nope, they're not. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the transition now. I'm gonna do this way more smoothly in the future when I get used to having transitions. But we're gonna go ahead and transition now. Alright, there we go. Oh, that actually took a lot less time than I suspected it would to stop recording, because it usually takes a little bit for the recording to stop. But do you have that next one ready? Are you wanting to start reading that, or do you want me to read
Yeah.
one?
Let's start reading this. It's a good story, I think. I liked it.
Back in the day.
Back when I was young.
Alright.
I'm gonna warn you, this has a bit of swearing in it.
Well, shit, that sucks.
It's not that much. It's just a little bit of swearing.
Well, that's fucking great. Just reminds me of when we were at Mall of America
Yeah.
for bands, and we were in this. We went to this like mini golf place, and we were playing in there, and there was a sign that said no cussing. I usually don't cuss that much, just casually on my own, but for some reason, when we were in that no cussing area, I couldn't stop cussing like every couple of sentences. There would just be one that'd slip out.
Dang it, Blake.
It
Oh
was,
yeah, you told me about that. Like it was at that golf course or something.
yeah, it was a mini golf place in Mall of America. I can't remember the
And
name
you
of it. It
just
had like a
couldn't
mine.
help yourself. You had to swear every second.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just kept slipping out.
Because you're a bad boy.
Yeah. All right, are you ready for that? Are you ready with the next one?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Prove it. I don't believe you.
Boy, if you don't believe me,
You what?
I don't know. I didn't think I'd
Send
get this
you a
far.
message on Facebook. An
I'll
angry
fight
one.
you on Reddit.
I don't even have a Reddit account. I just
Well,
brought
shit.
it up. I don't have Reddit. I don't have BuzzFeed. I don't have any of that stuff. Is BuzzFeed social media?
I have no fucking clue.
What is BuzzFeed? I'm gonna Google search that. What is BuzzFeed? I believe it is rip in the fabric of reality where random bullshit slips out.
Basically.
There are no results to what is BuzzFeed.
Not even God knows what the hell BuzzFeed is. He just saw BuzzFeed. He's like, what the fuck? I didn't create
That
this.
should be one of our. I think that should be a sketch we should do. What is BuzzFeed? And
What
just
is
like us trying to get information. I feel like we could get some sort of comedy aspect out of that.
Probably. I mean, you could do it anything with a liberal source.
A liberal source.
I'm pretty sure they're liberals.
Yeah. You sure they're not socialists?
Oh shit, you might be right. No, they're communists.
Oh
They're
God.
worse.
Those famous Stalin. Stalin.
Shaky
Stalin.
breaky.
Stalin was notorious for using
BuzzFeed
Yeah.
BuzzFeed videos.
That's what he's famous for, right? Not like the Soviet Union, but like.
No, he was a BuzzFeed. He was like the lead producer of BuzzFeed.
Yeah,
you know?
he was the creator of BuzzFeed. You heard it
BuzzFeed
here, folks. The creator of BuzzFeed is Joseph Stalin.
Just, it's time to go to the gulag.
What?
That's a prison.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
I said it's time to go to the gulag.
Oh, I thought you said goulash. Close enough.
I'd like some goulash. You ever had goulash?
Yeah, we should have goulash. I gotta find a recipe for goulash. I want to cook goulash sometime soon.
All right, I got the story ready. So
Okay.
anytime.
Okay, yeah, we're supposed to be doing stuff.
Yeah, Blake. Gosh, Blake, get your mind on
Should
the
I
game.
at this point just like make another transition?
I didn't know you restarted the video again.
Yeah, it's been going this whole time.
Shit.
Should I just do another transition here?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, we got it going now. You ready?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now prove it.
All right.
This is how the last one started.
I'll prove it. You want to hear it? How I'm going to prove it?
Yeah.
Stalingrad.
Ooh.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
With a terrible taste in my mouth, I awoke from a slumber that seemed so deep I'd never emerge. Having gone to bed at 1:17 a.m., it was now only 2:47 a.m.
Wow.
My hour and a half sleep had seemed infinitely longer than that, filled with twists and turns of the subconscious dream state, but now reality was all too real.
He was
When
dreaming about his crush.
Probably.
I'm gonna commentate this at times. Just gonna
Of
butt
course.
in it randomly.
When I say this taste in my mouth was terrible, I don't mean it was a standard gopher chip breath every middle-aged man has when he wakes up. The taste was abrasive and unusual, not bitter, but sickly sweet, make me want to vomit. The closest thing I could compare it to would be the aftertaste of cheap rum mixed with some liquid form of candy corn. Yeah.
Can't relate.
Well, I just imagine drinking a bunch of candy corn.
I kind of like candy corn.
I know, but like, think about drinking like a gallon of it. I'd just
Yeah,
I'd
I feel
vomit.
like I can eat a few pieces of candy corn, but it's a bit sweet. Whoa.
All right, sorry.
It
that
sounds
was
like you just had the taste this person has in your mouth.
my beer.
Your beer? What are you drinking? I mean, I know we've been struggling to find the time, but if you need motivation to do this, I mean,
My bare feet touched the cold floor.
bare feet, are they really that hairy?
Like, I'm gonna hurt you. And I walked past my bedroom window and into the bathroom. Looking in the mirror, I opened my mouth in hopes of identifying the source of the taste, only to find that my tongue was covered with white gunk, almost
Ugh.
like plaque, Confused,
Semen.
I then brushed my tongue and teeth to eliminate taste to no avail. Beginning to become restless, I then went into the kitchen, opening the cabinets one by one. I had my mind set on finding something to cut through this terrible flavor. The best option I found was lemon juice. Yeah. And began downing it like water. Frustratingly enough, the liquid glided over the plaque on my tongue like a protective film, never even touching my taste buds. Throwing the lemon juice to the ground, I went back to my bedroom. Suddenly, and all at once, I was aware of a presence. A warm, throbbing, almost painful sensation came over me, almost like an
It's a
internal soreness
penis.
of nerve stimuli, boldly yet calmingly letting me know that I was not alone. It was the kind of inherent awareness one would experience in a dream. Only this wasn't a dream. My instincts directed my attention to my bedroom window, to which, almost in a trance, I then walked to and peered out of. What I saw was this visage of an owl sitting on a tree branch. Not a screeching owl or a spotted owl, but more like a barn owl, if I had to guess. It was very large and almost immaculately white. Oh, for the longest time, I was paralyzed, staring into his crimson saucer-like eyes. I didn't know if I was frightened or intrigued, because this animal wasn't just staring; it seemed to be staring relentlessly into me. After at least 4 or 5 minutes of this, the owl then, with an air of utter calm, smiled at me. Looking into its eyes, I felt strangely comforted. But the moment I broke its gaze, however, everything changed. My tongue began throbbing with a writhing pain I can't even describe, almost like every individual muscle inside of it was tearing itself apart. I ran into the kitchen to put water on it, but it dried up like acid as soon as it touched. Panicking, I put everything I could think on my tongue to help alleviate the pain. Nothing seemed to help, but I was determined not to give up until the pain abated. It was 10 minutes later when the swelling began, in addition to the writhing pain that had not let up one iota. That's really weird.
What?
It's like the spelling's like IOTA, and I don't know how to say that.
I don't know.
Now my tongue felt like it was being inflated with air from the inside. Barely able to close my mouth, I ran past my window again towards my bedside. The owl was still there with a smile as big as ever. Reaching for a bottle of ibuprofen, I tried to down a handful at once, hoping it would help the swelling. I was unable to swallow, though, and the pills fell abruptly out of my mouth. Nothing seemed to be helping. In a complete act of desperation, I raced back to the kitchen, past the smiling owl, and to the silverware drawer. Opening it, I reluctantly pulled out the sharpest serrated steak knife. Holding my breath, I punctured my tongue with the knife,
Ugh.
hoping the wound would release some of the pressure. Instead, all my muscles tightened around the knife hole, making my tongue pain increase double-fold, reducing to flailing on the floor now. I did the only thing left that any rational human being would do. I put the knife in my mouth and began sawing at my tongue. The pain of the blade was nothing compared to what I had been experiencing. Once my tongue was half severed, I paused for a second as to not choke on my own blood, which is now pooling quite dramatically on the floor around me. Gagging on the knife blade, I finished the job, ripping the remaining tendrils in half as I yanked the wretched thing out, showering the floor with my blood. My severed tongue landed in front of me, squirming and flapping like a fish out of water. Disgusted and mortified, I kicked it across the floor into the bedroom and closed the kitchen door so as not to see it. Even worse, not to hear it flapping around. Plugging my tongue with paper towels, trying to desperately maintain the bleeding, I sat crouched in the corner, suspended by shock and disbelief. As my heart rate finally slowed, I was still frozen with fear. So many thoughts were rushing through my mind that were almost indecipherable. What the hell just happened? Is that a medical condition? Am I dreaming? What was with that owl? Was that an owl? Then, all too suddenly, the most horrifying revelation came over me like a dark cloud. The owl had smiled at me through the window. It is anatomically impossible for an owl to smile. Overcome with a raw sense of primordial dread, I realized the truth. That's not an owl. There is no owl. That is not an owl, I screamed to myself. The glowering question remained. If it wasn't an owl, what is it? I was beyond caring. I did not want to know the truth. I didn't even want my tongue back. At that moment, all I wanted was to get away from that owl and back to placid safety. This is when a swooping noise broke my train of thought. Quickly, all fell silent. Almost as if all after waiting, I slowly opened the kitchen door to find that the severed tongue was gone. Approaching the bloody pool on the ground, I looked out the window once more, which was now strangely open. Staring back at me with crimson eyes, the owl was still perched on the bench. However, now it was poised to open its mouth. What happened next is beyond my realm of understanding. I knew it was impossible, yet it was happening anyway. The owl opened its mouth, and with a brand new tongue spoke to me, with an unholy voice. I will survive, it said. Its mouth then spread wider than it had before, revealing a pearly white set of teeth. It was at this point that I blacked out from fear. Once I awoke, the owl was nowhere to be seen, and the bleeding from my mouth had clotted. And I immediately got my things together, headed to the hospital. Once I was in the emergency room, having to communicate with pad and pencil, I informed the chief surgeon where I came from. A look of general unease came over his face as he reluctantly told me that the previous tenant of my apartment came in exactly 1 month prior, mysteriously missing all of her teeth. The end. Credit to Justin Suttles.
I mean, he says that only the only thing a rational person would do. I mean, a rational person would go to the hospital straight away and not like, oh, I'm gonna take my steak knife and cut my tongue off.
Well, he was in immense pain, so he was literally left just writhing on the floor. He could hardly stand.
I mean, I'm in band and I need my tongue for playing my instrument, so
You know, I like how he doesn't even realize that I was smiling at him in the beginning. He doesn't like think about it. He's like, oh, that's normal at this point in time.
maybe you should have been nicer to the owl. I mean, like, wave to the owl. Acknowledge his presence and not just gaze into his eyes.
His crimson eyes.
His crimson eyes. I'm trying to remember what the crimson was. There was something. I think it was Shannara Chronicles that had like the crimson something that were the main enemy. I can't remember. Motherfuckers texting me randomly. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna. That's gonna be that transition. Now we're gonna. Whoops! I did not mean to do that. I didn't want to do that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and transition this. What was that?
I just had to turn on my car because it's getting a bit warm in here.
You what?
It was getting a bit warm in my car, so I wanted to turn down the temp.
It sounded like thunderclouds through the receiver. Wait, are you in your car?
Yeah, I've been in my car this entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just sitting in the park.
You're not home? You're just in. Are you in Centennial?
Yeah.
Oh. I'd love
Little
to
did
do
you know.
a video at Centennial. I'm not sure what I'd do exactly. It's just a nice place it'd be a nice place for a video.
All right.
I'd like to go there sometime. But anyway, go ahead and move on to the next segment. Alright,
Soup.
So, we are off of BuzzFeed. Things
Good.
are gonna get real now. Mainly
Yeah,
because I didn't realize I was on BuzzFeed. And if I knew I was on
the only
BuzzFeed,
scary thing there for them
I
is
would've
Republicans.
backed off. Yeah, basically, yeah. That's pretty accurate. But anyway.
And then Donald Trump became president. Ah!
20 short, scary stories that will give you goosebumps.
All
Wait, why is...
Democrats were.
Okay, what the fuck? Why is the title of the page below the first story? Conscious Panda, get your act together.
Oh, I'm gonna break my spine. Just wait a second. Oh God, why did I do this to myself?
Ooh, this next one by Navajo Joe. It's titled One
I
of
wonder what this
10.
button does.
Or 1 of 20, I mean.
Oh, that's what that button does.
Are you just launching missiles?
Yeah, I'm like Donald Trump here. I'm just launching missiles at everyone.
This is titled 1 of 20. Just because it has no title and it's just listing. It's by Navajo Joe. I was a kid when this happened. My uncle and I were finishing up chopping/gathering firewood for my grandmother because it was getting dark. Driving back on a dirt road at about 30 miles per hour, give or take 5 miles per hour. I had this awful sense of being watched. Before I could turn to look out my window, passenger side, my uncle quickly shouted, "Don't!" I completely froze. My heart felt like it was beating out of my chest and then completely stopped when I heard a tap tap on my window. Well, I mean, I've got a window right behind me.
You're right, I got you.
Not sure if that was heard or not. I did a... My
I
windows,
heard
when
it.
you tap on them, it sounds more like a gong. Honestly, it's really bizarre. But anyway, before I could turn to look at my... Whoops, I've read that. I heard a tap tap on my window. My uncle sped up and was loudly praying in my native language. Jinga wanga binga zunga. That's just
What?
something I thought. That's him praying in his native language. I don't even know what their native language is. I just said random gibberish and hoped it sounded
Well,
like
I
something.
bet it's Navajo or something.
Oh yeah, I guess it is Navajo Joe. Well, I
What?
accidentally hit the mechanism on my seat and just was slowly sinking back down to the floor. I didn't know what was going on and thought it was over till our truck suddenly dipped from the bed. My uncle then started saying, "Look at me and don't turn away," over and over. Then I heard it again, tap tap. But from
Oh
my
wait, I got
window
a
behind
2-liter
me,
Coke in here. I got a drink.
wait, you got Coke in there? Wow,
Lots
you have
of.
beer, you've got Coke. What's you gonna pull out next? A pipe? Okay, I hit the mechanism again and wasn't even paying attention. All right, but anyway,
There we go. That 2 liters of Coke.
it was
I don't know why. Oh my gosh. That was so loud. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It wasn't too loud in the feedback. Well,
It was so
from
loud
my
to me.
headphones at least.
Wait. Tell me if there's any hissing noises because I got you,
I
boo.
mean, I heard it.
No. Tell me if there's any hissing noises during the story.
Any
Because if
pissing
there is,
noises?
no hissing.
No pissing.
Hiss. Hiss.
Pissing.
Oh, it's like I'm gonna find you.
I mean, you want me to send you my address?
Sure.
But it was getting harder for me to breathe, and I wanted to cry. A minute or two passed, and the truck.
The Trump. No, don't deport me.
My uncle looked around and sighed. It was quiet, besides the truck and the road. He looked at me and said, "We will ask your father to do a prayer in the morning, so the evil will forget our faces." Navajo to English equivalent. I remember curling
I
up
told you.
on the...
Boom.
I did mention Navajo Joe.
Oh, that was his name actually.
Yeah, the author's name on here.
Are
But
you
curling
legit?
up on the seat and just staring at the radio, watching the time. Listening to my uncle sing an old prayer till we got to my grandmother's house. I'm gonna be completely
Somebody
honest.
once told me the world is gonna roll.
I'm gonna be
That's the prayer.
completely honest. I wasn't paying that much attention throughout the entire reading. I don't know what that was about. I know there was tapping on the window and stuff, but I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention.
Basically, an evil spirit had found them, and now they're gonna do a prayer. Though they were gonna do a prayer, so it wouldn't remember their faces or something.
Jingle wall gaga bing gong. Is that what they say?
No, they just sing All Star Smash Mouth.
So do you have one, or do you want me to move on to the second listing? Or
You keep going. I don't think I have any more.
I'll read a couple more of these. Hang on. I really wish that I would have actually paused in the transition for a bit to see.
There's a really good creepypasta reader, Creeps McPasta, and Mr. Creepypasta is another good one. They do Halloween specials. You should check them out. Wink, wink.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the very bottom of the list and go to number 20 because, 20 goes after 1, right? Wait, and we're gonna. What?
It's like 2, but you just add another 0 at the end.
There's a second page. Okay, I was gonna say this only has 10, and I didn't see the the second page marker. It's really bizarre. This website is, but anyway, 20 out of 20. This one's got a bit more length. It's by Buddy Christ 117. Not as good of a name as Navajo Joe.
Navajo Joe.
Navajo Joe.
Navajo
Should I
Joe.
bring back the accents?
Yes, do
20
it.
out of 20. I
Mom,
have a younger brother who
I
had an
have
imaginary friend when
osteoporosis.
he was younger. He was also an avid sleepwalker. Imaginary friend. Whenever I think of imaginary
Wait,
friends,
what is this? What is the story called?
They don't have names. They just have listing names. This is 20
Because
out of 20.
Because I might have seen this already.
But you don't see books, you read them.
Okay, Mr. Smart Alec.
Well, I suppose
Thank
you can look at him. But anyway, when he was about 3 or 4, he started talking to someone called Freya. It looks like it should be Freya, but in parentheses it says how to pronounce it, and it says Freya. Should be Freya. He described Freya as a dark-skinned man with little clothes who loved to hunt in the wilderness. Then one day he told me that Freya used to live nearby the village, or nearby the house a long time ago. And then some white people came and burned him alive and killed his village.
Keep that southern accent, because when you use that southern accent for the story, it just works.
Not exactly something you expect to hear from a 4-year-old. I remember I would be in my room and hear him talking like he was having a conversation. And when I would try to check on him, he would immediately become silent and turn his head as soon as I peeked around the corner. Very unsettling. When my other brother, the middle child, was visiting the middle-aged child.
Yeah.
The child that was actually 50 years old. Was visiting his dad for the summer. But the day before he got back, my youngest brother told my mother that Fry does not like me. Fry does not like when brother is mean to me. I don't know why brother is in parentheses. That threw me off. He's going to scare him. The night he got home, my mom and I were downstairs and heard a scream that I can still hear to this day. We ran upstairs and found the middle brother swearing that someone was under his bed violently. He was swearing, so he's like, "Fuck! There's someone under the bed. Fuck!" That's how you swear, right?
No, he's probably going like, "Fuck, shit, bitch, there's a motherfucker underneath my bed."
I wouldn't use that from now on. I saw a motherfucker on a motherfucking bed.
Yes. Uh, I
It
love the southern accent.
it was a bunk bed. My
It
youngest
was.
brother was sound asleep. A month later, my youngest brother took a bad fall and cracked his skull. I like skull. I like the word skull in the accent.
It broke his skull.
Took a bad fall and cracked his skull.
Skull.
He was fine, but never talked to Fry again after that. One night I heard my front door open and close. Since it was 4 a.m., I went to check it out because I'm a fucking idiot and I haven't seen any horror movies and know how badly that's going to end up. I opened the door and found my brother on the far end of the yard in the snow, only in his underwear, staring right at me. Then he slowly waved.
Nice.
Those shivers weren't from the cold. Well, what were they from? Also, tell your brother to put his pants on.
Bro, get your ass in here and get your clothes on. It is snowing outside.
And then I reached into my dresser drawer and threw a pair of pants at him and
And
said, put those on you, motherfucker, before I come over there and beat your ass.
no, he went into his bedroom, pulled out his pistol, and shot his brother. For he knew his.
Then I grabbed my 12 gauge and came out there and went kaboom.
Come.
Kaboom. Something relaxing about that voice, like that accent.
Kaboom.
There's something just relaxing about it. I'm going to push away from that website. Wait, what are we doing for time? Or just what are we doing in general? What are we doing? What is this? This is,
We've been here for
a game
47
show.
minutes talking to each other. Oh my gosh, the time sure does fly.
No, it doesn't. It walks and takes the bus sometimes.
I'm gonna hurt.
I'm gonna hurt.
Blake, I'm gonna hurt you.
I'm gonna hurt.
I'm gonna build a great wall.
Alright.
Demonetization.
Luckily, I'm at the point where demonetization does nothing. Okay. Should I? There's some categories here. True scary stories that will give you nightmares. Real life ghost stories that will make you sleep with the lights on. Intensely creepy stories that will make your skin crawl.
Ooh.
True horror stories that will make you piss yourself. Seriously spooky stories that will make you lock your
Spooker
doors.
stories.
I mean, I already do. My door's locked right now.
My car doors are unlocked, so if anyone wants to steal me right now, I'm all for that.
I'll just walk over to your
fetish.
car. Paranormal stories that will make you feel like you're in the
I like
Twilight
the skin
Zone.
crawl one. You should do the skin crawl one.
Skin crawl one. Okay, intensely creepy stories that will make your skin crawl.
See, Poppy.
There's My Night Terrors Are Real. The Spider Contract. I hate spiders.
Then read it.
Something's coming for me. There's something wrong with my uncle. Okay, there's too many. I'm just gonna grab one. Fine.
There's something wrong with my uncle. He let me into the closet, but we didn't play Monopoly.
Oh my god, these are so long. Okay. After this one, I think I'll switch over to... I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the glitch in the Matrix moment. Did I do a transition? I probably should do that. Good enough. Alright, well, the way that I started the recording, it's gonna start off with you going,
crying. Oh my god.
All right.
Oh my god.
Does this have an actual like author, or is it just existing? What do you know? It's just existing. My God, they didn't bother crediting their author. That's great. The
Who knows? Maybe it's at
spider
the end.
contract.
You're reading the spider contract?
I mean, you told me to.
Okay.
I mean, there's also like my night terrors are real, and then a bunch of other ones.
It's a spider contract. I've never heard that before.
I haven't heard any of these before. I might actually. This website seems like it's got.
I think I've listened to over 100 creepypasta in my lifetime.
I'm gonna bookmark this page. It seems like it has a lot and stuff, and there's a lot of content on there.
You
But
know,
this one's-
I realized something. Drinking this 2 liter of Coke, I've realized that I'm nearly drinking about half my blood mass.
That's fine. But anyway. Alright. The spider contract. No author, because fuck credit.
Credit.
Since I was a boy, I've always been afraid of spiders.
When was he not a boy?
I don't know, when he was a girl.
Hey, you gotta get your southern accent out there.
I freaked and screamed until Mama came in. I didn't even. It says Mom, but my accent immediately made me say Mama.
Mama.
Came in and carried them into the garden. She always had a respect for spiders that I never understood. Many years later, when I moved to my own home, Mom passed away, and I was almost comatose. That sucks.
Comatose. What?
Comatose.
Comatose. Do you mean like he was like almost knocked out, or was he like?
He was almost in a coma, essentially. Like if you're in a coma, you're comatose.
Boy.
And if
Okay.
you're in a coma making toast, you're comatose.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Okay, read on.
I'm a doctor. They called me Dr. Fumpernickel.
They call me Doctor. What the hell are you doing to that patient?
People always used to refer to me as, "Who are you and how did you get in here?"
Who are you? How'd you get in here?
Like, that was just something weird. I don't know if it's a nickname or some weird slang or what. I'm adjusting
know,
my seat.
I kept them being called the monster, but I was just doing my job. I was removing all the kidneys and the livers.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you're supposed to do, even though they're having a heart transplant.
Alright, so moving on. Before, being self-employed, I was able to do as much time as I needed to grieve. I sunk into a dark abyss and worried that I would never climb out. One night, I woke up and had the creepy sensation that I was being watched. For a moment, I wondered if I was being visited by my mom's ghost.
Mama's goats.
My mom's goats. Oh my god, it's mom's goats. Matt.
Ah!
Matt.
I'm sorry what I did to you when I was younger.
I should not have looked at you that way.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Imagine my
I didn't know
horror
it
when
would offend you so much.
Imagine my horror when I switched the bedside lamp and saw a huge wolf spider on the table looking right at me. I leapt out of my bed, not my bread.
My bread. Let down my bread.
Sorry, I just really like bread.
Bread. Carbs.
What do you put in a toaster?
Beds.
Yeah, exactly. You make sandwiches with beds, and you sleep
bread.
on bread.
You sleep on bread.
I leapt out of my bread. Fuck, I did it again.
Yeah.
Oh God. I leapt out of my bed. There we go.
Bread.
Screamed in terror. I threw my shoe at it, but it didn't budge. Hyperventilating, I raced into my kitchen, wondering what to do. My
Ah! There's a spider!
Spider.
But wait, where's the gun?
He sees the spider and then immediately devolves into a caveman.
Oh, 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 gaga. Oh,
Fire
God.
bad.
Fire bad.
My blood froze when I saw many different types of spiders all over the counter. Okay, time to burn the house down.
What the fuck?
I was sure it was an unholy nightmare. I ran out my back door and tried to calm down even enough to come up with a solution. While I stood on the patio, I heard my next door neighbors having another drunken domestic argument. They were throwing
I said like
bottles.
this is normal to him. It's like,
Yep.
oh yeah, they're just drunk and
they're
arguing again.
throwing
This
bottles at
happens.
each other. That's the next part.
They're shooting each other again. Okay, let's get out of hand.
They were throwing their bottles and screaming on the top of their lungs. But I had to stay focused because I had a bigger problem in my own house. Maybe it was the mixture of the grief and pain,
Are you
but I grabbed
serious?
a can of fly spray and a lighter. I thought I can blow torch those
Spiders.
arachnids into oblivion. There we go. That's what you're supposed to do with spiders.
No, you see, you just get a flamethrower and
Yeah.
you use napalm and you pray that the house doesn't burn down with the spiders. But if it does, it's just some collateral. The
Yeah.
Lord will thank you in a bit.
Yeah, there's a military place not too far from us. What is it, like Fort Knox or Camp Knox or something?
Fort Knox?
Like
I don't think Fort Knox is by Iowa, buddy.
or wait, no, not Fort Knox. Oh, what is it called?
Fort Dodge?
Dodge. Yeah, there's like that Camp Dodge or Fort Dodge, like not far from us. It's like a military place.
Yeah, I know. It's like really close to
Fort
Spencer.
Knox.
Fort Knox. Fort Knox is right in the middle of Iowa. We just changed location. I think they were in Nevada or some shit like that.
When I slowly stalked back into the house, I noticed a hushed murmuring, and for a moment, I thought I was finally losing it. Shh, shh, shh. A hushed murmuring. Just walk into the house and you just shh, shh, shh. Do spider things.
Walks into a house. If you like to talk to tomatoes.
What?
The vegetables are talking to me.
What is that?
I was singing like the theme song to VeggieTales.
Never seen it.
You never seen VeggieTales, boy. You never lived.
The only animated things I really watched as a kid were Star Wars: The Clone Wars and SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, I was hoping to say you watched like some massive anime or something. As a
Nah,
kid.
I don't watch anime. Never really found any appeal to it.
Nah. I'm glad you watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars at least.
Yeah, good show. When they bring it back, I'm probably gonna watch it.
You can't watch it on TV though.
What is it you watch on, like Disney XD or something? Like their
No,
like, actual,
because
like,
they're taking down Disney
site-
XD actually.
site? Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, and
what?
so they're making.
Why?
So you know how Netflix has like how it can stream videos, right? That's what they're gonna do basically. So you have to like have a subscription to their streaming.
All right, so moving on.
Back to the story after we
read
went off.
Spiders and shit. I readied the fly spray and ladder as I crept into the kitchen, but I wasn't prepared for what happened next. The spiders were now on the kitchen table, grouped together like an army, with wolf spiders standing alone in the front. I dropped my weapons and screamed, watching in horror as a wolf spider reared up and waved its front legs at me. It was like it was beckoning me to come forward. Why would you drop the can? Just fucking burn this shit.
If I saw a spider waving towards me, I'd run straight up to it and I'd just start cooking them. Like, You motherfucker! How dare you show intelligence?
Here, I'll just draw the short sword that I have on my wall. I just I just hit the mic.
I heard. I heard it like unsheath, and then your mic was like.
uh,
I'm like, crap. Blake has gone really serious with this one.
yeah. I
See, if
bought
Blake sees a spider, he pulls out his he goes on a crusade against spiders, basically.
yeah. I just totally sliced into my mic. Or no, it's alright. I thought I saw like a scratch. It was just the way the light hit it that looked like there was just a huge gash in the mic. It's fine.
He saw a tiny spider on his mic. It's okay, guys.
I'm gonna have to wait for a while for the next episode. I accidentally cut my mic in half. But anyway,
Anime.
the others stayed in formation behind it as it continued to wave its legs at me. Then I remembered my mom and how she'd always shown respect for the world of spiders. An odd feeling came over me. Realizing for the first time that the spiders meant no harm, I slowly made my way closer to the table, knowing that it was a special event. The spider stood their ground while the wolf spider continued waving its legs. Once I was about a foot away from it, it stopped. Trembling and feeling like a fool, I'd addressed this creepy assembly by telling them that I wouldn't hurt them if they left the house and stayed out of my way. And imagine my surprise when they started following the wolf spider down the leg of the table and made their way to the crack in the far wall. Over the next few days, I got back to work, even though the rowdy neighbors continued their brawling, I mean.
Bawling.
They continued their
That's
brawling
when they
and
were
bawling.
crying because Trump won the election.
Oh,
The story was actually set in 2016.
One night was
That's why
particularly
they've been
bad,
drinking.
with the cops being called. Only an hour after the cops left, the fighting started up again. The next week had more of the same. I started to read that as shame, but louder and more violent. How much longer is this? Okay, I'm about halfway through it. Too much. Okay, there we go. Trying to find where I was. It seemed that the cops didn't want to deal with them, and I was sick of the screaming and thumping on the glass smashing. It was affecting my work, and there was no way I could sleep through it. Finally, I broke down and cried like a baby, still affected by the grief on top of my frustration. The last straw was when I lost a contract due to not meeting a deadline. I collapsed on my bed and started thinking terrible thoughts about firebombing their house. That's when I saw
Whoa!
the wolf spider on my bedside table again. The initial fear made me sit up, but I calmed down when it waved its front legs, which was becoming endearing to me. I was on the verge of going insane anyway, so it wasn't. It was strange to hear myself asking the spider to help, although I had no idea how a spider could sort my problems out. When it scrambled up and down the other side of the table, I shrugged and decided to collapse into a bottomless sleep. I wasn't. It wasn't until later the next day when a loud knock on my door woke me up. I was surprised to see two cops on my front porch with an ambulance next door. One of them asked if I
Oh
heard or
jeez, I
saw
already know what happened.
anyone through the night visiting the neighbors. When asked why, he advised that they had dialed 911. That is not the proper wording there. When I
What
asked
did they
why,
say?
he advised that they had dialed 911. Like, that'd be him saying you should dial 911, but that's the cop saying it.
Oh,
But anyway, screaming that their house was filled with spiders. When the cops finally turned up, the neighbors were dead. Well, that sucks. It was so surreal that it took a long time to sink in. I was amazed that when I later discovered that the cause of death was multiple spider bites. Well, he just said that there were spiders in the house, that it was filled with spiders. So you shouldn't have been amazed by that.
I'm appalled.
Um, that that night, I was sitting at my desk, secretly pleased that I didn't have to deal with the noise of my neighbors anymore. Then I saw the wolf spider on my desk speaker. I couldn't help asking if she had something to do with the neighbors. She reared up and waved her legs at me. I knew at the moment that a beautiful friendship had begun. How do I know she was female? Mom always told me that that if reincarnation was real, she would come back as a spider.
Oh, that bitch.
I just noticed that last line at the very end because for some reason there's a big gap between that and the final sentence. If they didn't add that line about mom's reincarnation, I was gonna say was after how did I know she was female? I was gonna say, um, and thus begun the weirdest marriage of mankind.
Oh my god.
But now that like there's the line after that I read,
That's
it's just plain incest.
incest.
Okay,
Oh,
so that was the
oh,
spider
God.
contract. That shouldn't have been nearly as long as it was.
Legend says spider sex is amazing.
um, okay, so what are we at for now? That took a while. Okay, according to Skype, we've been going at it for about an hour. So I
Yeah.
guess we won't need a two-parter. I think I'll read a couple of these glitch in the matrix moments, or do you think I should wait till another one?
Now just like do one and then we'll do the last one later.
Yeah, we could. Because I was thinking about doing another one soon. Um,
Alright.
like maybe next week or something. Like
Okie dokie.
these take me a while to edit, so it'll probably be about. It'll probably take me like, or it'll probably come out this weekend. Is when this will probably come out. Or when's the 31st? When is Halloween? Today's the
Wednesday
20th.
next week.
Okay, Wednesday next week. Should I wait that long though to release it? I think I'll wait till I think I'll just post it this weekend.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then next week we can record another one. But anyway, what's the what did these? Where's the, okay, I don't know if this one's good. I do know there was one that I thought was pretty good. It was the first one I read because I didn't realize I accidentally skipped one. But anyway, okay, we're gonna do a transition now. Alright, so, for this final little segment before the last story, we've got 42 hearing voices in the car. I read this one before and I thought it was pretty good. That's why I chose this one because I knew it was pretty good. It was pretty interesting. It was pretty cool. But anyway, when I was like 10 or 11, I was going to the beach with my aunt and her friends. There were two cars. There were two cars of us. To get there, we had to go through a very large industrial area. We didn't know the direction, so our car was following the other. Suddenly, they did an unexpected turn, so our driver had to take a sharp bend. In the moment, we heard a very clear, loud voice inside the car saying, laughing, "Sharp bend, hmm?" The driver immediately hit the brakes. We looked at each other puzzled. We all recognized the voice as not being any of us. In the very same time, we noticed that the other car had stopped as well. The other driver got out of the car with a scared face and shouted to us, "Did you hear that as well?" They heard the very same thing inside their car. The area around was fully deserted. Okay, so I feel like I forgot to mention this, but these are supposedly real things that happened. Like,
Ah.
like these are supposedly real things that actually happened.
Okay, it doesn't sound too real.
I mean, I don't think they actually are. I feel like that's one of those things that people say is real, but it's probably one of those things that they get attention. Some of those might be real, but Who knows? I feel like it sounds way more unrealistic after reading it, or after reading all those short, scary stories. It sounds like it falls in place with them, but there's going to be more of those in next week's episode. It won't come out next week, probably. It'll be recorded next week. You just do a line of Coke or something. I heard that, Stephen.
Coca-Cola.
Coke is supposed to go through your mouth.
That's what I'm doing. I got two small mouths.
I was pouring the drink into my ears.
Please
Okay,
don't make me laugh because I literally had like a 2 liters of Coke above my mouth when you did that.
I was just stretching. These recording sessions are fun, but I always need to stretch a lot. It's just sitting around for a while. Whoops! I was stretching out my arms and I smacked the blinds. Okay. Now for the final one. One of the best short, scary stories that I've ever read. Okay. That was rude. Just ignore the fact that I burped earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's posted by Blue
Posted by
Turtle
YMCA.
6 years ago. So it was pretty recent when I read it. But anyway.
When you read it.
About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the U.S. I have always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored around my room after my roommate, who was decidedly not a nice person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday. Obviously the scariest of the days. Wednesday. Actually, Halloween falls on a Wednesday. This is perfect.
Perfection in its finest.
It was a Wednesday. Somewhere between one land to... Wait, what's it say? Okay, there we go. My screen is damaged, so it's kind of hard to read these. Are you okay? Like, you've been laughing this entire time.
I'm sorry. That sounds really silly. I gotta send this to you. It's too funny.
What?
Oh
were you
my
just like
God.
scrolling through Facebook or something?
No,
Are you okay?
I just found this spooky image and it made me cry. Fuck hands, Mike. Oh my
What? What is going on right now?
Take a look on your phone.
I have not received... Oh, there we go. I've received a message. I am viewing the message. What is this? Where's its legs? I'll put it in at the end of the video. I'm not sure how I'll be able to put it in the video, but I'll put it in at the end of the video. That is fucking weird.
I just found it. Oh.
But anyway,
That's why I've been laughing.
But anyway, it was a quiet night, even for a week, even for a weeknight. Very little traffic, and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to go loop back to my apartment. When I first noticed him, at the far end of the street on my side was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each each box with a forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding that he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky, wearing an old suit. He danced closer still until I could make out his face. His eyes were open, wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off to the sky. His mouth was formed into a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Before the eyes and the smile, between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest a moment I felt relieved until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took a giant exaggerated tiptoed steps as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up
Oh, I think
on
I've
someone.
heard this story.
Except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say that at this point I ran or pulled out my pepper spray or my cell phone or anything at all. But I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen, as the smiling man crept toward me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, "What the fuck do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. But what came out was a whimper. "What the fuck?" Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they could certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there smiling. And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around very slowly and started to dance walk away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off of the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be seen. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see that stupid smile. But he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't even look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see. That is one of my favorite short, scary stories of all time. I love it. Because it's not like most horror things, which I don't like a lot of modern horror. Especially like modern horror movies, I don't like a lot of them.
Hmm.
Because modern horror movies, it seems like cliche after cliche after cliche. And then they really mistake horror for gore and stuff. And it seems like all of these movies and stuff, it's just like all this blood and gore, everything. And it's like, that just kind of pushes away from, like, something that's, like, really creepy and stuff. And I don't, not to say, like, that seeing a bunch of blood and gore everywhere wouldn't be creepy. I'm just saying, like, that it seems a bit like it's
Not
repeating.
story driven.
Yeah, it's not story driven. It's just seeing all this blood everywhere, and it's just not as enjoyable for me. But anyway, that's gonna have to be it for this one. I'm not sure how long this is gonna be. Like, this is a decent length. We've been recording for 1 hour 21 minutes. Pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so tired from laughing.
Yeah, my voice is dead. I'm probably gonna go drink some tea. Help my voice.
Alright.
It doesn't help that I was already sick when I started doing this. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. I forgot to say I messed up the outro.
It happens.
Thank you so much for listening. That's what I meant to say. But that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment. Tell me the seasons you have. Also, put any suggestions you have, like, in the comments below for any topics, because I've written down some topics of things I want to say in the next one, which should be recorded next week, hopefully. But I got some topics and stuff. I feel like we could. I want to stress this out. I want to do these as often as I can, or not like often as I can. It's like every other day, but just try to get them at least once every couple of weeks or once a week. Because this channel, it sits abandoned for a while. Like, between the first and second one, I think there was like a month or like a 6-month period and stuff. But anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day, and we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Adios.